Good morning everyone, welcome to another video. You join me 2 years later, trunking between a couple of our yards, as in not as in yards as in the distance, but you know, as in, I'll edit that out, that was really bad. And also I'm not in a rigid anymore. I got my class 1 about a year and a half ago, about 16 months ago actually, last August, which was about 8 months after I posted my first video, which was class 2. And safe to say, it's a lot better. I definitely enjoy a lot more. It's a bit easier, I would say. The actual job that my company do isn't any different, it's exactly the same. It's still delivering to stores, unless you're doing trunking or pallets to other companies, you know, in business parks and stuff like that. But you know, class 1, they articulate, so they're a little bit easier to get around tight areas. Even despite the extra length, you can turn them around on a dime. You know, you can turn them around on the spot. Whereas when it comes to class 2, I always compare it to it's a bit like a magic carpet, in that you're kind of floating around corners all the time. Yeah, in this video I kind of wanted to give you a bit of an insight into the last 2 years. I've been working at this company, and this is the first company I've worked at since passing my class 2 and my class 1. I started straight away class 1 with the same company after I passed. Yeah, I just wanted to give you kind of my experience really on, do you know what is it like? Do I still think it's worth getting into? Because the first video I did was only a couple of months. In fact, I think it was only 1 month after I'd started at my job. But I'm going to do the short answer and I'm going to do the quick answer. The short answer to is it worth getting into this industry is yes. The long answer is it depends. Overall, I do think it's a great job. If you take off the late starts, the early starts or the really late starts, depending on which way you go about it, and the possible nights out, and you know, you get treated a bit rubbish sometimes, it's all right, especially for a youngster. And obviously that's the bias I'm looking at it from. I'm not in my 50s. You know, the average driver is in their 50s as far as I'm aware. You know, I'm 20 now. I'm still very young in the grand scheme of things in this industry. But for a youngster, yeah, I definitely think it's worth it if you can put out with the early starts and the possible abuse. I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, if someone abuses you, you abuse them back, you know, I mean, professionally, obviously. The pay is great, I'll come on to that in a minute. The only problem is you start out with an X amount, and that you basically stay on that the whole time. There's no changing, and for me, I like a bit of career progression. And that is definitely not something you can get in this industry. You might be able to become a driver trainer or something, or you might leave your job and start as a driver trainer in like a, you know, a standalone company to train people up. But that's not really it's not really a progression. It's just a different aspect of the haulage, you know, career, really, in my opinion. Which is why the money I do earn goes towards paying to be a pilot, and you know, that's obviously got a lot of career progression, and that has ultimately been my dream ever since since I was probably about 10 years old, really. In my next video, which hopefully isn't going to take 2 years to come out, I want to feature some of you guys in it, because the first response, the response to the first video was absolutely, well, completely unexpected, by the way, but absolutely wonderful. So I really appreciate all the likes and comments, and I even got 100 subscribers. I started out with 0, and I've got 100 now just on that one video. I know it took 2 years to get there, but you know, I really do appreciate that. And it'd be great if you guys could send me over pictures of yourself in front of your lorries, especially anyone that's younger than me. I'm yet to meet anyone younger than me, and I'm really like to see that. That sounds really bad. So one of the things I've definitely come to really like about this job, this industry, when I compare it to, you know, working in retail, which is what I used to do, and obviously I'm very young, so I did that full part-time whilst I was at school, but I did do it a little bit full-time when I left and before I became a HGV driver. And one of the things I say that I definitely like about this industry is, to be honest, it's the closest you can get to being your own boss without actually being your own boss. You can basically take your breaks when you want. You know, if you want to stop off, you can stop off. If you know, you don't have to rush on deliveries. You can go slow or as quickly as you like. Another pro is definitely one of the most important things is pay. I'll put it up on screen now, and I'll also mention it. For class 2 on the top there is approximately, it's about £32,500. Now this is my own experience, and I think it'll probably be a bit less up north, but down south, if you're in the South Country, that's the kind of money you can expect, which doesn't include overtime, but does include 5 days a week. And then class 1, which is on the bottom, which is my current pay, which is what I got last year over the last 12 months, is 38,500, which doesn't include overtime, and you can do an extra day every 2 weeks. Alright guys, we've got another trailer. We are heading back down to our other yard, which I'm not going to name. M25's not looking great at the moment, so we're going to actually go A414 and then down the A10. It means it's a bit more of an interesting drive. It does actually take a little bit longer, but you know, obviously the traffic's pretty awful, so we need to think about a reroute. So good when you're going around these roundabouts. I do love it. Watching those 3 tyres coming in. So we've got a few brand new vehicles in the yard, 69 plate units, and actually just as I went into the yard there, I saw some brand new 69 plate rigids. Not like I'm going to be driving those, but, well, hopefully not. But supposedly we were supposed to be able to start using them today or tomorrow, so we'll see when I come into work tomorrow. They are DAFs, and I can't say I really like the DAFs. I always find their steering is way too heavy, the gearboxes are too slow, and just the interior looks, I just don't like the grey and the cheap plastics. So we're in Hertford right now. Not sure if I time-lapse that bit that on the A414 there or not, but if I did, this is Hertford. You might know it's Hertford anyway, just based on where we are. Very beautiful little town.